CSIS 2470 is filmed before a live studio audience.
Well, folks, we made it. Here we are at the final project. I'm just going to briefly walk through it here, and then I'm going to show you a live working version of it in just a second here. So the first bullet point here is just the folder structure as you're used to in all of the assignments. We do that every time. And then this tells you inside the shirts folder what to make, which will be the index file. So here's the basic content that's supposed to go on your index page. Inside the image folder, the only thing allowed in there are the logos that will be available to show up on the shirts. And then bullet point number 4 is you showing off your CSS skills, which you will not see on my site. I did style it up, but it's not super awesome, but it's enough so that we can have a decent enough experience here on the video. But I want to make sure you don't get inspired by what I give you. I want you to come up with your own design, right? So it doesn't have to look anything like mine, and I would prefer that it doesn't. Okay, so bullet point number 5, A through, I don't know, I guess H here. Yeah, so 5, A through H. That's what we're going to be walking through in the next few minutes. I'm not going to go through the instructions line by line here, so we're just going to see it live in action, and then everything I'm saying in the live version that you're about to see is all described right here. So here we go. When you first get here, you're required to have a shopping cart show up like this, and if I were to click on the shopping cart, it just says my cart's empty, and there's a button that says build shirt, and that's explicitly spelled out in the instructions. So if I click on build shirt, it takes me back to where we started right here. And then if I click this build shirt button, then the controls will show up over here, and this turns into start over. So we start off here by, it tells us we've got to choose a color, a size, and a text or logo. So I choose the color red. Notice that the second I clicked on the color, it changed, or it appeared, I should say. And then it changes to blue the second I click, or to green, or to whatever. You might recall in a previous assignment we used a color picker, and when we clicked the color picker, it didn't actually register instantly. We had to click another button to make that work. And that's because we were listening for click events. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm listening for an input event. So that'll allow you to do it directly. The moment I click, it changes it right as I click on it. All right, so make sure you do that because that's what we want the behavior to be. So I'm going to go back to this green color. And right now, notice there is a shirt there, but we haven't given it a size yet. So this is the default, which is neither small nor large nor medium. It's just a default size here just to show that a shirt exists. And this shirt is done with 100% CSS. There are no images here. It's just divs that have been reshaped. And I'll even explain what they are. You can see right here this little neck. That's actually a circle right there. It's a div that I made into a circle. That is the same color as the background. And then the middle section is one rectangle with that circle lying on top of it. And then the sleeves are just 2 rectangles, one each, that are skewed. And I skewed them by 20%. So one of them's negative 20%, or 20, excuse me, not 20%, 20 degrees. One's negative 20 degrees and one's positive 20 degrees. But that's it. So if you do that, it's not very difficult to get this shape here. And now the next thing, when you choose a size, you will see that's the small version, what a small looks like. And that is a medium, and that is a large. And you'll notice that that little neck thing looks funny as it's resizing, because that is that circle div I was telling you about. I had to reposition it as I change the sizes. Okay, so we're going to go to a large here. Notice also that it animates. That's also required, right? That it animates. It doesn't just go from small to large or whatever. It has to animate. Next up, we choose a logo, and I have something simple, logo A, B, C, D. I want you to have better names than that. And by the way, you don't have to use drop-down boxes. You can use radio buttons or whatever you want, but this is just the way I chose to do it. Before I pick a logo, though, I'm going to show you that I could write some text on here, Beavis, and that would be my shirt. And notice now that I have text on there, it says I can drag my shirt, and you can see that it is draggable now, right? And it'll let me go to the cart, but I'm not going to drop it there just yet. If I put too many letters, however, and the limit is up to you, I chose 6, but you will have to put some kind of a message like this, and notice it's no longer draggable. If I go back, then we're good, or if I clear it out completely, or leave it at 2 letters there, notice that choose a logo is grayed out. I can't choose a logo. But the moment I delete those letters there, now I am able to choose a logo. And if I do pick a logo, one, notice that it animates in. Watch, I'll do it again. I pops in there like that. And notice 2 that the custom text is no longer available. And 3, it is draggable now. There's a note here that says drag it, so I can drag it. Right, I'm going to go ahead and drop it off right there. And notice when I dropped it off my cart, I got a 1. I'm going to drop it again, the exact same shirt. And now I have a 2. In fact, I'm going to buy 3 of this shirt. And now I'm going to add a pocket to it. I can do a left or right or no. So I'm going to do left pocket. And I'm going to drag that in there. That's 4. And by the way, a little tip on those pockets there. They are black with 50% opacity. That's what makes it to where, like, if I pick a new color completely blue, maybe that's a little too dark. But you can see it sort of matches the shirt because it's black with some opacity, so you're seeing through it. So let's go ahead and drag that one in there. Why not? And we'll do a small, and we'll do logo E and no pocket. And we'll make this shirt green. We'll drag that in there. And we can also click start over here, where it just completely resets everything. It doesn't kill my cart, but it's starting over making a t-shirt. So we're going to make some sort of a pink thing here. And we're going to make this a large. And we'll do a heart on there. So maybe we'll change this color like that. And we'll do a left pocket. And maybe we would see that and think, oh, maybe I don't want a pocket because it's going to be on the design. But this is fine for just our demo purposes. Drag that in there. And there we go. Now I've got 7 shirts. If I click on here, you can see, and this is all spelled out in the instructions, that I have a table that describes everything. Now remember that shirt we dropped in there the first time we did it 3 times? That's gave us 3 there and 30. And then the other shirts, we only did 1 of each. Now each of these is an object, and I have an array with all of the objects in it. And I'll even give you a little bit of a hint here. On the drag and drop, when I drop it into the cart, my function there, my event handler that handles the drop, will push an object that matches all the pieces that we designed on the page into an array. And so every time I do that drop thing, it pushes it into the array. Well, all I do is push this description into the array, and then I have a second array that has the quantity in it. And so they match each other, right? The 0th element in the products array, or whatever you want to call it, matches the quantity of the 0th element in the quantities array. Now, when I do go to push, I check to see if this exact text is already in the array. If it is, then I don't push. I get the index of where it is in the array, and I increment that same exact index in the quantity array. So there's a little hint for you there. Remember, this is a final exam, so I can't tell you everything, but I figured I'd give you a couple little hints here. Now, if I want, I decide, oh, I'm not done yet. I'm going to go build another shirt. It brings me back to the last one I built, and maybe I just want to slightly modify that to make it a bluer shirt and no pocket. And we'll make it a medium, and I'll go ahead and just drag that in there. Now I've got 8 shirts, and you can see my total is $80. This cost, you can do it the same way I did. I just hard-coded the cost. Every shirt's $10. So in the section that generates this table here, it's just $10 for everything, and then I do the math here and total everything up. The next part here, which again is spelled out in the instructions, is you have a form for them to fill out. And so if they try to submit without filling it out, they will get error messages here. And again, make yours better than mine. I just did a quick little thing here. But let's start putting some in there, right? Stone, and I'll do 1, 2, 3 Main Street. And these are all required. If I don't fill them out, then I'll get this little red message here. And do this with JavaScript. Don't use the required attribute in your tags. Don't use that. The apartment is not required. That's the only one that isn't. So let's start there. I fill that out. Notice that the messages went away and my data stayed there, but I still have these here that I have to finish, right? So I live in Mayberry, Connecticut, and we'll submit. And again, it keeps all the data, but it reminds me what I haven't finished. If I try to do a zip code like with 5 numbers, it gives me an error, or 5 letters, I should say, gives me an error. If I only do 4, but the moment I get the 5th digit, then that message goes away. And the only format of a phone number that will work is the one you see in the red box there. If I don't put it exactly like that, it tells me to do it, and then I put it there finally, and it works. And now once it all works, you get this message. Thank you, Jeff Stone. So grabs a name from the fields. You ordered a large shirt with no pocket and the Santa logo, color that times 3. And you ordered this shirt times 1, and all the shirts and bullet points here. They will arrive at 123 Main Street, blah, 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 within a week. So this is, again, pulled from those fields. If we have any questions, we'll contact you at that number. And that's it. And then the only thing I can do now is start a new order or just leave the page. So I click start new order and I start over. I go back to my cart, it'll be empty. I can just go back to building a shirt. All of the things that need to be there are spelled out in the instructions. One last thing I will point out here, notice the URL is the index, and when I click on the cart, it's still the index. I'm changing the content of the page based on whatever events are happening, whatever click events or whatever is going on. So let me just quickly show you one more. I'll build one more shirt here, make it a large logo, drop it in there, and go look at it. This table here, it's still index. Now, you don't have to do that. You can use multiple pages. However, it is a nightmare to do it that way because when you go to a new page, all your variables get wiped out, right? And there's no simple way that we've learned in this class that will make that work the way you want it to work. I'll just say that. Now, if you want to learn about local storage, then that is a way to do it, but it's a little bit more complicated. And it's, believe it or not, a lot easier to do it this way. And I'll even show you my index file so you can see how it works. And don't copy my index file, but I'll give you the basic idea of what I did here. So what you got here, I just had two sections in the body, right? Starting on line 9, this section goes all the way down to here. And that section is all of this and all of this stuff here. And then I have this section, which is the cart contents, and notice it's hidden at the moment. And so when I make a shirt, well, actually I don't even have to do that. When I click on the cart, it swaps. It removes the hide class from here and it puts a hide class on here. And so it displays either that top section or that bottom section. Then when I click here, it just reverses it again, right? So that's it. I've given you a good overview of what this is supposed to look like and how it's supposed to function. Maybe not what it's supposed to look like, but how it's supposed to function. And I even gave you some hints along the way and some tips and pointers to help you do the assignment. So hopefully that helps. Good luck with this assignment. It is a fun assignment, but it's not a quick assignment. This will take some time. I would block out a good 15 hours at least. I know that's a lot, but it's, a couple hours a day for a few days, and you should be able to get it done without too much of a problem. All right, folks, that's it. May the force be with you. We'll see you next time.